they're sorry, but they're really not. Now, when I saw this video, let me tell you, I was disgusted.
Oh, that's so
I
gross.
was so disgusted. So Bishop Ben of JCM Church, Bishop, Bishop M of JCM Church gets on a podcast with this lady, and in the middle of their story, they're kikiing, they're laughing, they're speaking in mother tongue, mixing with Kikuyu and Kiswahili and all of that, and he starts talking about Steve Simple Boy. First of all, he throws mad shades talking about, trying to imitate his voice and saying, ndio manake. And in Kikuyu, talking about how Akoko Kibera, sijui akifanya vitu zake. And I'm just like,
Okay.
Kwani being Kibera is a problem, And also, did Steve-O not move out of Kibera? Kwani tukumbuke hizi story, ni nini mbaya? Why are you trying to associate him with a certain image,
Yeah.
Anyway, skip that. Get to the next story where he goes talking about how Steve Simple Boy was famous, and then along came Pritty Vishy wanting her 15 seconds of fame, and then goes on to say, goes on to say how, to be honest, she's not that pretty. In fact, she is ugly. She's not something to look at.
Oh.
She's trying to sell a story of plus size is good, being overweight is good. But to be honest, she's not pleasing to the eye. And even goes on to tell the host of the show, am I wrong?
And the host is there laughing.
Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. She is not beautiful. The whole time I'm looking at this and I'm like, kwani alisahau the cameras are on? Are the cameras not on? Is this not a whole bishop of a whole church? Also, a bishop also involved in a few controversies here and there with his wife and girlfriend and assistant, whatever is going on. I don't know. I don't listen to Kikuyu drama. It's just too much. It's just too much going on. But the thing that really stuck out to me is this TV show host did not call out this behavior. This female host did not call out the behavior of her guest coming onto her platform and putting down another woman. Instead, in her pikmisha energy, she is laughing at the expense of Pritty Vishy. This is a girl who really minds her business, to be honest. Pritty Vishy is not in y'all's business. She's usually talking about how she wants to buy a fridge. As in, she's just living her own life. She is always glowing up, taking us through her journey, showing us how she's taking care of her siblings. This girl is so unproblematic. So for you all to get on a podcast and start talking about them, I just did not get that. On top of that, this female, TV host laughing about it. If I was a host and you came onto my show and instead of disrespecting somebody, I'm going to say, hey, pause. I'm going to redirect the line of questioning if this is what is triggering all of this malice. Anyway, fast forward, Pritty Vishy actually responds and says, at Bishop Ben JCM Kenya, let us meet in your church on Sunday. Alisema occupy JCM. I want you to tell me in front of the members on that altar, I am used to being abused and body shamed by other people, but a whole bishop? You are among the bishops and pastors that make people like us hate the church. And since you have given me a reason to be back in church, I will come to you. I pity every woman who surrounds you. I pity your children. I wonder which Bible you read. I wonder what type of members you teach. Yani, she went ham on him. And it is so sad for you to get on a platform and start body shaming somebody. Anyway, fast forward. This bishop goes onto his Facebook and makes a very lackluster apology. He says, Pritty Vishy, I am very sorry. I take this opportunity to highly apologize for mentioning your name in a show where I went overboard and mentioned you in a wrong way. Get a space in your heart. Wow. To forgive me for addressing you in a wrong way. Then goes on to say, this will never happen in the future. I take my mistake. Pole my sister, karibu sana JCM Church, kanisa la watu wote. Kanisa la watu wote. What do you mean?
Isipokuwa wale hawana sura mzuri.
No. It's including kanisa la watu wote. So I was part of a certain group that was not welcome before, and now you're like kanisa la watu wote. That statement at the end was mad shade.
Even the fact that he's now dragging his church into it. Like, he was speaking independently as Bishop
Kiengei
Kiengei.
actually did say that, you know what, I will come to your church and you can tell me everything you want to tell me about
In
it.
front of that pulpit.
And after he posted this apology, Pritty Vishy got on her Insta stories and said, no, I do not accept your apology.
As
your
she should.
apology should be as loud as the disrespect was.
As it
and I
should.
was just like, yes, girl. So tell me why I woke up this morning, got on my social media, and I saw them together mekutana kwa hoteli. And I'm just like, what's going on here?
The plot
is going on here? Why are y'all together? On top of that, this bishop makes a long statement on his social media talking about how it was God's plan to bring them together. And because of all of this that has happened, he's been able to open doors for Pritty Vishy.
What doors?
And he even came to this lunch meeting with a few stakeholders and investors, and he mentioned a few brands there, of which Pritty Vishy will be the face or lead influencer for these companies. And I'm just like, well, that's interesting. Well, that is interesting, Pritty Vishy. We are yet to hear her side of the story, but I do not know. Also, Karanyamu also seems to have an opinion about that, but we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about Karanyamu over here. Febby One was also calling out this pastor. A few people have called him out on social media, and I feel it's only because of the pressure that he apologized. That was a very rude thing to say to somebody. You are wicked. You should not be the bishop of a church.
You know what? Bishop Kiengei, ama anaitwa Bishop who? Anaitwa Kiengei. Hebu ngoja. Ben, nimeona ameitwa hapa jina fani na Karen Nyao. What is this? I'm trying to find the name. Bishop where is it?
Kiengei.
Bishop Kiengei. Anywho, look, the way he was, when I sat down and watched that video, because I don't know how it happened on my social media. I saw the video first, and then I saw Pritty Vishy's video after. It's like it was a series that was very interesting for me. Now, I watched the video at first. I never really watched these vernacular videos, mostly because I don't really, it can be very, most of the times, right? It can turn a little vulgar quite quickly. I don't know why, it just happens. Maybe it's the tone, I just genuinely don't know. However, I was curious when I heard him talking about Pritty Vishy, and then he just kept piling on and piling on and piling on and being even more and more crass. And at first I'm like, okay, what beef does this man have with Pritty Vishy? Because it felt like he was coming from such a place of anger and bitterness, and just like
him.
He was very, very agitated and fueled by the mere existence of this woman. I'm like, what does she do? Like, now I'm trying to figure out, like, wait, hang on. Is Pritty Vishy fighting with these people? Number two, the fact that he addressed her in Kikuyu. I don't know, was it a ploy in the hopes that she would never get it because she's not from the tribe? Was that the idea that he's only gassing people up of a certain particular, tribe simply because for whatever reason he feels like it will not have any backlash on him? That was very calculated. Number two, this babe over here cackling. Quack, 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 quack. She's laughing. Ni kuanguka na anguka kwa kiti. I'm just like, girl, what is going on? I even thought they were co-hosts on this particular show. And it's a gossip show. That's what I thought. I thought it was some gossip column, a Kikuyu gossip show, and this is what they do. Only for me to then, Pritty Vishy saying, Pastor, Bishop. I'm like, Mwadhani. Bishop, as in a whole man of God, who then will have to stand at the altar. How do you treat the people in your church? Like, that's now the questions that started like running in my mind. Like, how are you treating people in your church? How do people even come to you? Do you then have this thing where if you're not pretty, you can't talk to me? Do you then have this weird, I don't know, castigation of people simply because of their looks? Do you know those people who just like talk to specific people simply because, and then they will just hammer on and demonize anyone who doesn't look like how they want them to look? I was just like, I was so charged. It gave me so much like PTSD because church has always been like, I've always had a weird relationship with church simply because of the kinds of preachers that are in the front there. Now, all these things are triggering. Then you see Pritty Vishy being vulnerable and saying the way she's been crying the whole night and she's just taken a moment. I'm like, I really do understand that, yes, when you hear someone into, like, she actually said she'd been tagged on this video a couple of times, and then she asked one of her friends to like translate, like, what are they saying? And the friend translated, and immediately she just started crying because she's like, look, I have had a lot of hazing, a lot of hate from a lot of people, but I never thought that it would come from the place where we're supposed to seek love. Like, we go to church to find love, to find peace, to find harmony, to find ourselves. And now this is the same place that is throwing me out and calling me all sorts of names and dogpiling. And the way he was also speaking about Steve Simple Boy, like, I don't know that you're supposed to say that out loud. That's really wrong of you to even say. Like, everything this man said just sounded like dogpiling. It really just sounded like dogpiling. Like, you've seen people talking about these people many times, and now you've decided you're going to heap on top of what these other people usually say, but in the most crass and unkind way. I personally feel like, yeah, that is, I don't know, cause for the church to remove him from the seat and stuff like that. That's the kind of action I would be looking at, right? Like, the church is so embarrassed by this man and the way he's representing his church that they've decided to give him either I don't know, some sort of suspension or something, some form of punishment for his behavior. But no, he's going on and now sitting down with Pritty Vishy. Honestly, at this point, I don't know that I can be angry enough for Pritty Vishy, but we're just going to wait and see what comes off of this conversation, because all we've heard is Mr. Ben's side. We haven't really heard what Pritty Vishy has said after this here conversation or this chat. So I'm just going to wait, and then I'll form my opinions after, because honestly, if I don't want to also give pressure on her. It's like, yeah, if you accept his apology, then you da-da-da-da-da-da. No, it's her. It's something, the ill was done upon her, and she decides and dictates how she wants to fix it. But like, personally, I have my own biases, so I will let her decide what she wants to do, and then we'll come back and have this conversation. But at this moment in time, Bishop, you probably need to quit, I